Hello everyone, it's Elaine. Thank you for joining me here today on my channel. I've got this really cute Halloween card using the MFT Frightfully Sweet stamp set. So let's get started. I have taken a piece of Copic friendly cardstock in my mini Misty. I will list the cardstock that I use down in the description box below. And I'm just positioning my stamps onto my piece of paper. I've used all the little cute critters in the set and just closing that door on my Misty and then using my Memento Tuxedo black ink just to stamp those little critters out. I do this a couple of times just to get a nice dark impression on my paper. And these are just so adorable. I had to have them as soon as I saw them. And now I've really sped up the colouring quite a lot. I find it quite hard to edit the colouring. I don't really know which bits to keep in, which bits to take out. So I've kept most of it in, but I've sped it up quite a lot. So I'm just taking some purples for the band around the hat and the bow tie. And then I'm using my favourite pumpkin colours. And I try and do all of the same colours at once. So now I'm just starting on those hats. I just colour one of the hats for you today. Just using some dark sea coloured Copic markers. And I do use the tip to tip method quite a lot just to help me blend the colours together. So that's why you can see I've got my markers out at the same time. I have listed all of the colours I've used down in the description box below as well, in case this is too fast for you and you just want to check out the colours. And I've also listed or put in the video somewhere that you can skip forward to 4 minutes 51 if you want to skip all of the colouring and you aren't interested in that at all. So just colouring up my little raccoon. Using some warm grey markers for the raccoon. And I think he turned out super cute. If you will see my Instagram, you'll know that I had a massive filming fail this week. So I've already coloured these up once before. But then when I went to edit my footage, I realised I hadn't filmed any of the colouring because I had no more memory on my memory card. So this is the second time I'm actually colouring these up. And you'll notice in the photograph, this little bunny is quite a bit lighter than this one here on the screen. That's because on the card, I used C3, C1 and C00 marker. But for this card, I'm using C5, C3 and C1. So he's just a little bit darker on this colouring. But still just as cute. But other than that, everything is the same. So I'm using my E30 markers for this cute little bear. Oh, he's not a bear, he's a squirrel. I keep calling him a bear. He's a squirrel. I at least think he's a squirrel. I'm just looking at the tail and assuming it's a squirrel. I'm sure somebody will comment below if I've got that completely wrong. But anyway, I'm calling him a squirrel. So I'm just using my black Jelly Roll Glaze pen for the eyes and a white gel pen for just some little highlighted accents. I think that really makes it pop. And I do put a couple of little white dots on their eyes as well, just to make them look like they're sparkling. And so just colouring or covering up a little bit where I went over the lines, just dotting those eyes, and the colouring all finished. Just using my Spectrum Noir Clear Sparkle pen just to add a couple of glittery accents. And then I'm taking the coordinating dies to this set and cutting those out using my die cut machine. And then just popping those out. So then I'm moving on to the background, to my card. So I've just got a piece of watercolour paper and I'm using my MFT Blueprints 27. And I'm just working out where I need to put the colour on the background using that scalloped edge. And I'm using my Gansai Tambi watercolour palette here. I'll list the colours on the screen. I can't remember what ones I used. So I've just put some water down on that piece of watercolour cardstock, and now I'm just dropping in some colour. This one is a nice deep blue, and then this one is a purple. I think the colours do look very similar on the screen. The camera doesn't pick up. I think you can see it better in the pictures how the colours look. This, you can see here that they're different, but when I apply a second layer, the colours look quite similar. So once I'm happy with my colour, I use my heat gun just to dry that off. I like the look of the heat gun, the way it moves the water and the paint around, and you get kind of these sort of lines, as you can see there. I like that look, so that's why I tend to use my heat gun. You'll see here that the purple looks quite blue, so I think it shows up better in the pictures how different they are, but I was really happy with how it turned out. I'm not used to sort of doing these backgrounds. I need a little bit more practice. But again, I take my heat gun and heat set that. And a lot of it will be covered up anyway with my critters and my grid that I'm going to use. So I'm not too worried about how it's looking. So now I take my Perfect Pearls in Perfect Pearl, and I just put a little bit of that on some stamp packaging and add a little bit of water. And I just tap that onto the background just to give the look of stars and some sparkle. And then slowly and carefully I remove my blue tape. And I can start working on my sentiment. And I just use that grid that I'm going to put on my card to help me work out where I need to cut, so that I can secure that to the grid. So I'm happy with how that's looking. So I just go ahead and put that background piece in my Misty, and then I use the grid just to work out where I'm going to put my sentiment. And I use the Have a Frightfully Sweet Halloween sentiment from the set. And then I'm just going to secure that down with the magnets. I'm going to use my embossing buddy just over that area to take away any static and to make sure that I don't get any embossing power where I don't want it. I use a white pigment ink just to get a base down onto my cardstock, and then I use my white super fine detail embossing powder from Ranger. I'm trying something new. My Nuvo one just looked a little bit uneven, so I'm hoping this will give a crisper finish. So I heat set that with my heat tool, and then I just go ahead and put down some 1/8 of an inch score tape on the back of my grid panel from that Blueprints 27 set. Remove that release paper, and then go ahead and pop it on top of my watercoloured panel. Just lining that up till I'm happy and think it's straight. Press that down. It is a little bit warped from all the water that I applied, but I'm hoping by the end it'll have flattened out a bit. So I've just taken some black cardstock and used that scalloped rectangle from the set. And I'm also taking some silver glitter paper just to sort of layer things up a little bit. Use my trimmer to line that up and create a nice border around the edge. I actually wanted a little bit of a bigger border, but that didn't happen. So I just used some score tape to secure everything together. I find this works the best, personally. And then I just layer that up. You can see the border's quite small. I probably would have liked a little bit of a bigger border showing a little bit more glitter, but I'm still happy with it. So now I'm using my ATG gun to secure my watercolour background and the grid and everything onto that black cardstock. And then I was having arguments with my ATG, so I just moved on to a tape runner that was on my desk to secure that to an A2 size card base. So I didn't film this bit. This is just me pretending to add glue to the back of the critters, and then I secured them down as so. And that's my card finished. I hope you enjoyed that. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. I'll see you later. Bye.